So we are the last Sunday of the church year. Then the church year turns over for the first Sunday of Advent, and we will move on to the Gospel of Matthew. We follow the lectionary cycle, so we have been in Luke's Gospel for the whole year. And certainly when I went to seminary in the early 80s, Luke was kind of my favorite gospel, social justice gospel, feminist gospel, all of that. And kind of newer generations of scholars have been like, well, maybe not. Feminist scholars have pointed out that Luke has a lot of women, but he also silences them and gives them bit parts. And there's this kind of part of Luke, remember he wrote volume 2, the book of Acts, that he's kind of in line a little bit with the empire, with the Roman Empire, and he doesn't want to rock the boat, so sometimes he kind of softens things, and he wants everybody to look kind of appropriate. So he has manly men, and women are supposed to know their place. There's a little bit of that. Luke, I have been using this commentary the last year, written by Barbara Reed and Shelley Matthews, and the commentary came out right on the heels of Black Lives Matter and George Floyd, and they're both very gifted scholars and well-known and renowned, but they're not afraid to push back on Luke at different points and kind of hold up to the light, like what's the gospel writer doing, which I think is extremely helpful because it reminds us that we do not worship the scripture, right? We're trying to be faithful to this one who is revealed in Scripture in people who are like us, very imperfect, right, and have their own biases and all that. So we come to the text, of course, as a guiding light, but reading it against the whole. And for some bizarre reason, the church year ends on the crucifixion of Jesus, which doesn't really seem to flow, but that's the way it's done. And Springsteen and the spirituals have something to say about the crucifixion too, and about kind of the way life can be broken open, and how can we see that in fresh ways too. So this text is when Jesus is kind of coming, he's on the cross, and he's between these two thieves. And all the gospel writers tell this, but in different ways. 2 others also, who were criminals, were led away to be put to death with Jesus. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, and this part's bracketed in most scriptures because a lot of people think it was a later addition. It doesn't show up in all the earliest manuscripts of the gospel. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Bracket close. And they cast lots to divide his clothing, and the people stood by watching. But the leader scoffed at him, saying, He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Messiah of God, his chosen one. The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, and saying, If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. There was also an inscription over him, This is the King of the Jews. One of the criminals who were hanged there kept deriding him and saying, Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us. But the other rebuked him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus replied, Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise.